Hello, hello, hello. Much love to you all. May God bless you all. Smash that like button, share this out. We're going to talk about a few things here. We're going to talk about passport because ultimately, let's say you're wanting to travel around the world. That little piece of laminated or cardboard or whatever it might be is so important for you to travel the world. And you're going places, you're packing your t shirts, your shoes, you're packing all these things. But when you get to the TSA, all that matters is that passport. They don't care about your t shirts or your shoes. Of course, they would care if you had something that you shouldn't bring in. But ultimately, the biggest thing they're looking at is the passport. Then, once you get to a foreign country, let's say you lose your watch. It really doesn't matter. But if you lose that passport, you would have to visit the embassy and show proof of who you are to even get home. So, the passport has to be treated like when you're traveling, has to be treated like you can't lose this. Your life depends on it. Well, we cannot live without Jesus Christ. In Revelation 2:1, it says, Unto the church of, or unto the angel of the church of Ephesus, write these things, saith he that holdeth the seven stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the seven golden candlesticks. So we see it's very essential for us to realize that Christ is our passport, and we cannot do anything or even continue without Christ. Christ has to be the center focus of everything. The word walk in Greek,
Strong's G 4043. Peripateo. Peripateo.
so we see this as to walk, to make one's way, to progress, to make due use of the opportunities, to be occupied. So the Lord is occupied with the church. He is walking amongst. They can either stand as lampstand or candlesticks, depending on the version you're reading.
Strong's G 3087. Luchnia. Luchnia.
Like I said, a candlestick or a lampstand. And the church is to be shining the light, and we can only shine the light with Christ. If we don't have Christ, the church is not shining a light. It's just a place where people are congregating together if they're not shining the light of Christ and have Christ. So, we see in Revelation, he's writing to these seven churches. And lampstand is very important. Of course, we can think of the Jewish menorah. Made from gold, had seven places for a lamp. In the Old Testament, the lampstand represented the presence of God. When Israel was facing resistance in rebuilding the temple, we see that Zechariah reminded them that the Spirit of God would empower them. We see that throughout the Old Testament, they're reminded that the military might and everything they had came from God. So let's, for instance, go to 2 Kings chapter 17. And we're going to do verse 36, where it reads, But the Lord who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great power and a stretched out arm, him shall you fear, and him shall ye worship, and to him shall ye do sacrifice. So we also are going to go to the book of Zechariah. And we're going to go to chapter 4, 2 through 6. It says, And said unto me, What seest thou? And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick of all gold, with a bowl upon the top of it, and his seven lamps thereon, and seven pipes to the seven lamps, which are upon the top thereof, and two olive trees by it, one upon the right side of the bowl, and the other upon the left side thereof. So I answered and spake to the angel that talked with me, saying, What are these, my Lord? Then the angel that talked with me answered and said unto me, Knowest thou not what these be? And I said, No, my Lord. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, This is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. So we see it's very in particular that we cannot do nothing without Christ. And just like in the Old Testament, they couldn't do anything without God. So as we look, we see this lampstand also stood in the holy place of the tabernacle, which I've been doing a tabernacle series, and I'm going to soon be working on part 3 of that very soon. Exodus 25, verse 31, where it says, and this is actually the part that I'm going to be working on, the candlestick. And thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work shall the candlestick be made. His shaft and his branches, his bowls, his knobs, and his flowers shall be of the same. So the light that was in the midst was characterizing a holy, life giving power of God that came from being near his presence. See, the lampstand represents a connection between the power of God and the presence of God. The church needs this presence. The church needs to go back to living a holy life because nowadays we're seeing a lot of churches replacing what the traditional values of the Bible teaches. So we see this Greek word that he walks amongst the 7 churches. This word means to walk to and fro and go here and there. It indicates that the Lord is very busy with the church. It gives us a picture of the ongoing presence of Christ living in his church. And that we must be busy and occupied through the Holy Spirit, calling unto the sick, calling unto the sinners, calling unto those that are bereaved from a lost loved one, encouraging the brokenhearted, and giving hope to those who lost the meaning of life. See, the will of God for the local church and for our personal lives is for Jesus to walk to and fro with you and to have a relationship. And that's what I want you really to focus on. I want you to take out some time now and focus on how much is Jesus in your life? Are you being godly husbands and wives? If you're single, are you being a godly single person? If you're at your job, are you showing a godly aspect to your life, how you do your job? See, we need to be ever so mindful that the Lord is walking in the midst of the churches. So, some scriptures I want you to read for this week is Exodus 33, verse 14, Psalm 16, verse 11, Psalm 23, verse 6, Psalm 31, verse 20, Psalm 84, verse 10, and John 14, 16 through 17. Remember, your passport is Jesus Christ, and the only way you will gain access to an eternity in heaven is with Christ, and Christ is the way. May God bless you all. Smash the like button on the way out, and much love.